Thanks for watching this short video on how the accountant and the client actually connects and starts the Client Collaborator. Client Collaborator is a new tool with QuickBooks Accountant Plus 2014. Your clients need to be on 2014 Pro Premier Enterprise as well. And the biggest question we have is, so how does the conversation get passed back and forth between the client's version of the company file at their location and then the accountant's version? And the client might have sent the company file through the accountant's transfer file, and then the accountant converted it to an accountant's copy file, or maybe a backup or a portable file. Either way, you got the file as the accountant, you're in it. And I'm going to show you how the connection takes place. So basically, though, the conversation is stored in the cloud. Both copies of the company file access the same conversation list. And this way, the accountant and client do not have to pass any files back and forth to answer questions. So this should replace the need for a lot of emails, phone calls, when you're wanting to converse about a transaction in a file you got from a client. Okay, so that's how that works. Let me get out of here, and then we'll start the process. I'm in the accountant edition here. In Guilds of Rhode Island, that is my client's file, and I have a credit card charge up here for office supplies. I want to know about it. It's probably a computer purchase, not really sure. Under the accountant menu, I'm going to go ahead and click on Ask Client About Transaction. And as the accountant, since I'm initiating the conversation, I'm going to sign into my Intuit account. Both myself and the client need to have an Intuit ID. I'm going to go ahead and click Sign. Now here, if you're a longtime pro advisor, you might have a lot of realms associated with your login. Okay, so just choose the one that is not a client login. You won't have as many as me, but still. And then you go down to the bottom and go ahead and click OK. At that point, you're going to go ahead and connect to the client. So you're going to enter the client's email address and click Send. So at this point, my invitation has been sent to my client, and they're going to receive it and also sign in and invite me back. So I'm going to close this for now. And at my client's place of business, they actually got an email. It says request to use Client Collaborator. So open QuickBooks Company file, go to the company menu, select View Conversation List, and sign in with their Intuit account, which I'm going to do right now. So again, we're in the client's location. They're using QuickBooks Pro 2014. Under the company menu, they go to View Conversation List. And here they go ahead and log in when they're prompted to. Next, the client's going to invite the accountant to the connection, and that's really the last step. So there's my accountant email address as the client, and go ahead and click Send. You'll see this successful message. Your invitation is going to send to the accountant. Now let's go back to the accountant's location, accept that invite, and then we'll start collaborating. Now back at the accountant's location, I got an email that Ray at Guilds of Rhode Island invited me to collaborate. And it's the last step of the process. The accountant just goes ahead and clicks on the actual blue banner in the email, sign into Guilds of Rhode Island. And they sign in to finally accept the invitation from the client. So you're inviting each other. Go ahead and click sign in as the accountant. And finally, you're now connected with the client. So you can close the browser, and then at the accountant's place of business, I can go ahead and start asking questions about the transaction. So that's how easy it is to connect with your client for the conversation to take place in the cloud. I'm in the QuickBooks Accountant Plus 2014. You do need the Plus version of QuickBooks Accountant 2014 in order to start or initiate the conversation with your client, and the client also needs to be on QuickBooks 2014. It supports bill, check, and credit card charge for right now. So I'm going to go into the Vendor Center and bring up this Staples credit card charge for $2,000. Probably has to do with a computer, perhaps. So you can either click the Ask Client icon in the upper right, or under the Accountant menu, click on Ask Client About Transaction. The transaction conversation comes up. For this particular transaction, shows the date, the type, if you have a reference number, the name, and the amount. I'm going to ask, what was this purchase for? And go ahead and add it to the conversation list and go ahead and close that. And now I'm also going to look at another transaction. I believe there's a check there for a rather large amount. Just check that out. So again, I go ahead and ask client about the transaction. Or this time I'll go ahead and click on the little Ask Client icon in the upper right. So what was this charge purchase for? Go ahead and add, and this time I'm going to add and open the conversation list itself. So here I'm in the tracking conversations list where, they're my questions. I do not yet have answers from the client, but I'm going to go ahead and notify the client and then they'll go in there, QuickBooks Pro 2014, and answer it. We'll take a look at that, but you'll find this information, view conversation list under the accountant menu as well, right in about the middle. So I'm going to go ahead and click Notify Client. And the notification has been sent to the client, and we'll close out of here. And I'm also going to go into the client's perspective. So at the client location, they got an email from the accountant. Essentially says, I have a few questions for you about some transactions in your company file. Would you please respond to them? And notice there's no link to click in here. They just go to the company menu, view conversation list, and respond there. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm in my client's QuickBooks Pro here. Go to the company menu, view conversation list. And here's that same window we saw on the accountant side. A client sees it as well. What was a purchase for? I'm going to choose this one was for a new laptop. And then what was this purchase for? The check from ABC vendor. This was a big party we had. And the client will add the message to the conversation list by clicking the arrow on the right to each answer. It gets added there. And then this one as well. And now I'm going to go ahead and notify the accountant of my answers. Just click Notify Accountant. Email's been sent, and then we'll resolve it by going over to the accountant side, and it just goes back and forth like this. Again, it's not meant to be instant messaging. That's not what I mean. I just happen to be doing it really fast, but the accountant's going to get it, the next morning or later, take a look at it when they're done with another file or the other work they're doing, and see the answers, and then let's go ahead and code the transactions. Okay, continue on with the story. The accountant, gets an email from the client, and it just says, I have questions for you about some transactions in the company file. So it's the same language going back and forth, but essentially I just go to the accountant menu, view conversation list. So that's just how we're doing it. Let's go ahead in my QuickBooks file here, accountant, view conversation list. And now as the accountant, I can see my client's answers. So the purchase for a new laptop, and then there was a big party they had. So now when I go into my QuickBooks, I can actually make the appropriate codings to both the check, meals and entertainment, okay, and maybe put in a memo here for party so we know what it was for. And then of course, then in my credit card charge, I can go ahead and choose the appropriate fixed asset account if it is a fixed asset. So either way, I'm able to converse with my clients at the transaction level using the new Client Collaborator. Hope that was helpful.